Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Imperfect Cheerleader Podcast. My name is Jasmine Neely, and I am your host of the Imperfect Cheerleader Podcast. And today we're going to talk about Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders Season 2, Episode 5 recap. We're almost done with our recaps. We have 2 more to go because there's 7 episodes, so I got y'all. And we have some exciting guests coming on, so make sure that you are tuned in and locked in and ready to go. You can hit follow the podcast in Apple Podcast, and you will automatically get the new podcasts when they release, when I upload them, and I hit go. Okay, so if you've been listening for a long time, thank you. I get messages from you all the time, from my listeners, and they say, it's usually a DM on Instagram, and it's like, oh my gosh, I've been listening to you, and you've helped me in this way, in whatever way, and thank you so much for those DMs, because I'm not gonna lie, it does get hard sometimes to show up consistently, to give you good content, to really just speak and open up and be vulnerable and talk about my own life. Some of the things I've said on here, I can't believe that I've said. Like, looking back 10 years, I would have been like, why would you ever tell anybody that? And I feel comfortable telling you guys this now. I've been podcasting for 4 years now, which is crazy. And I hope to continue to do it because it really is fun. And even the days where I don't feel like doing it, I try to show up because I want to give you good content. I want you to be able to hear from not only just me, from people that have been there, done that have been where you want to go and achieve what you want to achieve in terms of your dance goals and your dance career and being on a pro team, or whether that's just dancing for fun, having a better performance quality, dancing as a hobby. You don't always have to go after a dance goal. You can show up and you can just want to become a better dancer and learn how you can become a better dancer. So I'm here to help you in every way that I can. I don't have all the answers, Sway, but I try to point you in the right direction. I try to tell you exactly what I know. What I'm not going to do is try to make up something if I don't know the answer. If I don't know the answer, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to suggest that you go to somebody else who probably would know the answer or could point you in the right direction. So I just say that, like, I don't want to be this person out here that's like a guru, that's like, I have all the answers. Straight up, I don't have all the answers. I'm just telling you from what I know, from my experiences, and I have a lot of dance experience, and I just want to share what I've learned along the way. So with that said, in my past episodes, I've asked you to DM me any questions that you want me to answer live on the podcast. And I do have 2 questions already, and they come from TikTok, actually. So one of the questions is, how often will you hold dance training classes, and is there an age limit to try out for NFL cheerleaders? So I'll answer the second question first. Is there an age limit to try out for NFL cheerleaders? It depends on the team, and it's mostly 18 and up, and it's not anywhere below 18. I think most teams do 21 and up, but there are some teams like the Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders that do 18 and up. So you would just want to check with the team that you're interested in what the age limit is. That's actually the minimum age, either 18 or 21. The maximum age, I don't think there's a maximum, but there's probably an unwritten rule on some of these teams of a maximum, but I've seen ladies in their 40s audition and make teams. And so I don't think there's a maximum. I think you just have to be able to do the job. And we all know as dancers, our bodies, as we get older, sometimes they don't function as well when we are in training mode and we've been training for a long time. So with that said, just know which team you're auditioning for, read the room, ask around. And I'm not going to say you're too old for anything, because you're not, but just know what you're getting yourself into and know the risks that are associated with that and the rejection that might come with that. Okay. So the other part of your question was, how often will you hold dance training classes? I hold classes monthly, and I do monthly. I would do every week. I did that starting out, but it became a lot with just what I do during the day and this podcast and privates and things like that. So I had to do monthly so I could accommodate my schedule. And now being an NBA dancer for the Hornets, I have to like be able to have time to do all of these things. And so monthly classes is where it's at. You can find out what classes I have by following me on Instagram. I usually post there, posting stories for you to sign up. The next class is going to be in September. Don't have a date yet, but it will be, actually, by the time this episode comes out, I probably will have a date. So just check back on my Instagram, and I will update you there for a date. But yeah, monthly classes is what I usually do. Usually do a membership as well, and it's a virtual membership, and then you can get the in-person class each month for free. So I'm revamping that membership. I'm not sure what it's going to look like with my new schedule, being a dancer, pro dancer again now, so I have to reevaluate that, and hopefully some cool things will come out of that. Okay, so the next question I had was, when you tried out for the Panthers, did you have to do solos? No, we did not have to do solos. Every time I tried out for the Panthers, I did not have to prepare a solo. We danced mostly in groups of 4, and then usually, I think my rookie year is groups of 4, but usually for semifinals and finals, it's groups of 2. And then we did groups of 6 for finals for like a kick line so that they can see how you are dancing and then transitioning into formations and into a kick line. So that is, yeah, but that's not to say that they won't do solos. Things have changed and shifted with the Panthers organization, and they have a new coach for the Top Cats, so who knows? She might introduce solos next year. So I would definitely be preparing now. If just honestly, you don't have to prepare a solo, but just think about if you were to do a solo for any audition, what kind of solo would that be? What kind of genre would that be? Kind of just be thinking about that, because if you don't know if that's a requirement, sometimes teams like to surprise people. So I would prepare something, even if it's not a solo dance. It could be a routine that is like a talent routine. So I would just prepare that. Okay, thank you all for your questions. Ask me more questions and I will answer them live on the podcast. So let's get into episode 5 of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders making the team on Netflix. I'm gonna try to look into my camera so I can look at you guys. So this is the episode where they're going to announce the team, okay? They are at the final cut, and they start the episode with, I think the last episode they ended with not showing who they were talking to that got cut. This episode continues that conversation, and they show, oh, by the way, spoiler alert, y'all. If you've already seen it, this message is not for you, but if you haven't seen the episode on Netflix, then I'm going to be telling some things that happen. So if you don't like spoilers, then pause and come back to this episode later. I got this really weird hair that's sticking up right here, and it's distracting me. Okay. So she's talking to Jenna, I believe, and she's saying how Jenna peaked a little too late, and that's the reason why she is cut from the team. And Kelly said that she peaked at the right time for a strong impression for next time, which makes me think that getting cut last is probably the best position that you can be put in. And I think I said that last time. Getting cut last is the best position that you can be put in for the next time, because she's likely going to make the team. And I think, spoiler alert, she has made the team this year, because this season is based off last season, but they've already chosen the 2025 team. She made the team. And I would love to see how her journey changed if she was brought back in and was critiqued a lot. Because I did notice Kelly from Weehawken, who made the team last year, didn't make the previous year's team. But when she came back for this season, she didn't get a really a lot of feedback. Maybe a little bit, but it didn't seem like they were on her like they were the first season that she tried out. And so it just goes to show that when you are like close to last and being cut, that means they really are considering you. There's been some people in the organization that's like probably trying to wrap their heads around like who to cut because they're all so good. At that point, everyone's good. It's just a numbers game at that point. So you have to find a reason to cut somebody, unfortunately. So I'm happy that she made the team this year, but they had to cut her last. It's also the hardest because you're like, dang, I was so close. It's the best for the next season, but it's the hardest in that moment because you were so close. You literally, it was like what, like a 99% chance, not like a, I don't know, a 99.9% chance that you would have made the team or what. It's just like, as a rookie, sometimes you just never know who that is going to be. It was either her or Madison, and they chose Jenna. The episode then transitions into when they all make the team and it's happy-go-lucky and it's roses and butterflies, and it's just that it brings me back to that feeling of making a team and being, and I want to make this point, being with the other people and everybody finds out that they make the team at the same time, and everybody in that room is on the team. Being with the other girls, I noticed this, when you make it, makes it such a better experience than finding out through an email or social media or a phone call, because you're with your teammates, you all are finding out at the same time. I love that how they announce the team that way, because I've been in situations where either I've been in the room and I've made the team, and there have been girls that were cut and they had to like awkwardly leave the room. And it's like, what do you do at that point? Do you just wave goodbye? Like, do you ignore it? It's like, you don't know what to do at that point. And then like everybody's celebrating. You have one group celebrating, and then you have another group that's just really sad. And it's not a good look. It doesn't make you feel good because you're celebrating while your friend maybe got cut. So it's like, do you celebrate or do you go console your friend? Like, I for some reason just don't like that model of having people in the room make the team and people in the room that didn't make the team. It just doesn't sit right with my soul. I've been on the other side as well, where everybody is celebrating and I didn't make the team. And it absolutely sucks because you're like, dang, I could have been up there. You picture yourself, you think that your name's going to get called, and then they call the last name and it's not yours. And you're like, wow, I'm sitting here with everybody else that got cut, and we feel horrible about ourselves in that moment. And it's just not a good feeling when you have to see, especially if you have a friend that you've been going through the process with. It's like, you want to be able to enjoy that together. And it's just not, I just think it's not right. I do understand the model of learning through an email. I really appreciate that model too. Or a phone call is really personable. But it's just something with being around your own teammates and having them there to celebrate. I thought that moment they captured just made me think about, I don't think I've gotten that experience yet when I've made a team. Being around everyone, and everyone in the room was on the team. And there was no sad feelings. Nobody was sad because you knew that everybody in that room made it. So I just wanted to say that. Then they get into the sponsorships and all the perks that come with being a DCC. And they talk about how they get a nail kit a week. They get meal prep for, I think, $60 a week or something like that. They get tanning. They get a gym membership or access to a gym. Hosiery, skin treatment and products. Like, their sponsorships are insane. I actually heard, I think I saw on TikTok that this year, season 3 hasn't come out yet, but I heard that they got Goyard bags, which are designer bags made in Paris. And I'm like, what? They got custom Goyard bags? That's insane. So there definitely are a lot of perks to being on this team, and I can totally understand not wanting to fight for more money because you get all of these perks. But I appreciate them. They are a storied organization, a iconic team, so it only makes sense that they get all these sponsorships. And then you had Kelly, she's talking about how expensive it was in her day because they had to do all of it themselves. They had to get their own hair done. They had to get their own tights and hosiery and everything. They didn't really have that many sponsors, but obviously as the organization grew, they had the opportunity to do that. And it does add up. It is expensive. I wish when I was in the NFL that I had a hair sponsor that could do my black hair. And I had to pay for my wigs, and then you had to, like, the weave, then you had to pay for the color that I had. I chose all of this. I didn't have to choose all this, but I wanted to look a certain way. And so then you have to pay for your installs, and that ends up being like $500 for all of that every 2 months, because your hair grows out. You got to go back and get it done. And, well, the lace in the wig has to be resewn because it's stretched out and it's grown. And it's just like, it adds up. Okay. So it's very nice that they get all those sponsorships. And I hope a lot of teams are going to follow this model and give their cheerleaders the same, or try to attempt to give their cheerleaders good sponsorship benefits, because they do a lot and they deserve it. They talk about in this episode that the contracts weren't changed, and they get into talking about, the world from the first season. They were exposed to a lot of, the world again through Netflix. Of course, they had their CMT show, but Netflix, I think, exposed them to a whole new segment of people. And they were saying that y'all should fight for more money. I think it was the clip that Kat had going around saying that she probably makes as much as a Chick-fil-A worker who works full time. And people hear that, and they hear about, them not getting more money, and they're naturally going to advocate for them because they see them on this show. They see all the hardships they go through, and that it's not an easy job, and not anybody can just do it. And I think it's a perpetual issue in the dance community in general, because dancers in general don't get paid as much, but they are so skilled. So I think it's great to bring awareness to this, and that it's being talked about a lot. Like, Jada couldn't even pay her rent, which is insane. And she said she got an eviction notice at one point. It's like, you put all this time and energy into doing this, and yeah, you're expected to work full time too, but like, you shouldn't have to struggle to do both of those things. You should be able to be paid a livable wage doing this job that requires so much of you, so much of your time and energy and mental capacity. Even if you have a full-time job, you should still be getting paid what you're worth. Just because you have a full-time job and that's what makes the team unique, that doesn't mean that you can get paid less for being on a team. I think your job, yeah, it pays you full time, but they should be paid off of what they're worth, and they are worth way more than what they were getting paid. So that's what I gotta say about that. Oh, and then the gifts. Megan brought up that, she was packing gifts, and I think her husband or boyfriend was in the room, and she was like, yeah, I gotta, the group 1 leaders have to do the first gift. And it just got me thinking, like, gifts are expensive. And that is using your own money, likely. That's not using the company's money. It should. They should be using the company's money. But when I was a cheerleader, when we got gifts for our teammates, that was not expensive. And part of me thinks that it should have been. It very much should have been. Now, granted, it was something that we wanted to do, but now that I've been in the business world and I understand expenses, like, that's totally a business expense. And yeah, I guess you could write it off on your personal taxes. I'm not going to get into all that. I'm not a CPA, but like, just from what I've learned, like, we would get, I remember my last year, we got the girls on our lines water bottles, and they had their names on them, and we used our own money to do that. And I don't think that we should have used our own money. So, yeah, we do it because we want to, and we want to do it for fun, and we want to give our teammates gifts for fun. But it would have been nice to have that expensed or reimbursed or something. It would have been nice. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, because it adds up, especially getting gifts for the rest of the season, and then you have big and little gifts, and it can be a lot. So yeah, I'm happy that they are fighting, or they have fought for more money. And Jada said something like, "You have to be bold in life. You can't just sit around and expect things to happen. If you want something to happen, you have to be bold and go after it." I really love that mentality that she has. We get into then talking about group leaders, and just throughout the season, like the beginning of the season, and we talk about this as we had a captain's dinner. We gave advice to the season's captains, but we talked about that, and then in that we kind of brought this up too. Like, you want your team to trust you as a leader. You never know sometimes if you're doing a good job unless they tell you that, hey, you're doing a great job. You know, sometimes you might have to ask for feedback, like, how am I doing? And how can you get better? And I think it's okay to ask for that feedback. But you never know if your team is truly happy with you and your leadership style. And do they trust you? Are they talking about you behind your back and you don't know it? Yeah, everybody talks. I'm sure there's people that have talked about me behind my back. People talk about you behind your back. I'm just going to say it, like they do. So hopefully it's good things. I would hope that it's good things, but you just never know. And it's not something that you can control. Yeah, people talk about you behind your back. You can't control what they say. And that's where the let them theory comes in. You let them say what they want to say. But you, as a group leader or as a captain, you definitely want to put your best foot forward for the team, and you want them to like you. It's kind of like the need for that validation that Shaundi was talking about in earlier episodes. I like in this episode how they were getting into the women's lives after making the team. I think Ava had joined some type of creative company where she was like the social media manager. And then Abby was talking about how was she supposed to have a job and then learn and then get groceries and then like practice, because you're supposed to come to practice already knowing the choreography. Is not a practice, it's actually like a dress rehearsal, so you're supposed to know it. And Reese is an influencer. She's not at the flower shop anymore. And Reese brought up a really good point about making connections while she is a DCC, while she is a dancer, because you never know where those connections can go and what opportunities they can open up in the future. And I talk about this in my course, Becoming the Professional Cheerleader. And I actually have it as a whole module where it's like, hey, these are opportunities that you can do after you retire from being a dancer. After you have had that experience, you can go on and have these opportunities. And so I think this is such an important point, because you're not going to be a dancer forever. Maybe, but you're not going to be a pro dancer forever. A lot of teams have caps, 3, 5, 8 years, whatever it is. A lot of teams have those caps, and that's just what it is. And you can't retire unless you're 60 and make the team. I mean, you can't retire from a team and be on a team for like 20 plus years. It's just, that's not how it is. And you have to have a plan after you are done. Are you going to do something with it? Or is it just something that you did for fun and that's what it is? And that's a lot of times what people do, and that's fine. And that's totally fine. You just do this for fun because it's a dream that you want, and that's what it is. But if you want something to come out of it, like an opportunity, then hone in on those opportunities now, build those relationships and those connections. write down every meaningful connection that you have in this process, because you never know where it might lead to in the future. Who knows, down the line you might be looking for a job and you might be like, oh, well, I know so-and-so from this organization who helped me on this audition works here. Maybe she can help me get a job, or you just never know. So keep those connections close and cultivate them. And then they get into the first game and they talk about how like stressed they are before first game. I remember my first game and the leading up to it, it was a lot. And those first few moments in the summer, in the early fall, right before your first game, you're learning so much at a rapid pace. You're learning about, especially in the NFL, you're learning about yard markers. They had to practice taking water breaks, and so we had to learn how to practice doing that too, and what happens when you take a water break, how you kneel down. Everything is prescribed, and it's such a big stage that there's always somebody watching you. There's really no hiding. Once you step out there on that field or that court, all eyes can turn to you at any given moment, and you have to be prepared. The camera can turn to you at any given moment, and you have to be prepared. They get into just the stress that is in the first game. How I remember my first game ever, I was so stiff. Let me tell you, I was like, I'm going to point my toe the hardest that I can for the entire game. I'm not going to have any bad notes. I'm going to be smiling from cheek to cheek the whole game. And let me tell you, I did it. But I was beat after that first game, yo. I had a time of my life, but I don't think I truly could enjoy it because I was thinking about every little thing that I had learned. I was so, like, just not overwhelmed. I was just like, oh my gosh, let me make sure I do this right. And it's stressful because you do want to do it right, but then it becomes second nature. I like how they focused in on Jada and she has a mixed family, and just the different like characters in her family, and how like they just let her family be who they are. Her dad looking into the camera, her brother repping the Eagles. Like, it just seemed very authentic and very wholesome for a game day. And I think this was Jada's dad's first time even coming to a game to see her, so that was really nice, and her being at the point, which was really cool. And you get the happy game days from everyone, and it's just such a great atmosphere going into game day because you're just happy, you know? You are prepared, you're happy, and you might be stressed by a dance or two. So what? It's not the end of the world. It's just a really fun atmosphere to be in when you wake up on game day. It's like, all right, here we go. It's game time. Everything that I've been practicing for, this is the moment. Kelly Finglass did a first game speech, and she paused. She said that you have to pause because once you start that season, you are never going to stop for that season. It's go, 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 go. And she said you have to pause and just think about, you know, the moment, be in the present moment. And she's right. Like, you have to just take a look around and say, wow, like I'm here and I am present and I'm going to enjoy this moment right here. I've worked hard for it. It goes by so fast. Once the season starts, it's over. Like in the blink of an eye, because you're just go, go, go. And then you look up one day and you're like, wow, I just finished my first season. Or I just finished a season in general. When they came out in Thunder for their first ever performance, I've seen this episode before. I cried the first time and I cried again. It's just like being there for your first performance. There's nothing like it. And for them, since this was their second season, they had so much support there at the game. Armani had said that the crowd hasn't even given that much love to them ever. And just to actually hear the crowd yelling for you and like being so excited for you to be there, and you can hear that they are there for you. You can hear that they are excited to see you out there and they're actually cheering for you. I've been at games where, you finish a dance and, people barely clap. But being on a stage like they have, being on Netflix and being an international brand, they felt the love, and I think it's so beautiful. But despite even feeling the love, I think just being out there for the first time, you feel the energy of game day. It's like all those happy game days are wrapped up, and you get out there and you're like, this is what I'm meant to do. I'm so happy because I'm having fun. I'm dancing with my friends. It's just, the dancers always win. It's just a fun time. And having the crowd cheer you on is the best part. But seeing your family there makes it even like 10 times better. Like, it's chef's kiss. See, like, if you're dancing and you see your parents or somebody like in your family in the crowd, or a friend or good friend in the crowd, it just hits so different, because you're like, wow, my family came here for me and they are here just to see me. And it just is the best feeling of support ever that you can ever feel. Like, I remember my dad came down during the fourth quarter, because our tickets were all the way up in the nosebleeds. But I remember him coming down the fourth quarter and he was watching me perform. And I don't know why I get so emotional when I talk about my dad, but I just love that man. He was just looking at me in awe, and he just looked so proud. Whew. He just looked so proud of me as he saw me there dancing. And it's just the best feeling of support. You have the people that love you, seeing you do what you love. And I don't know why I'm crying over this. Goodness gracious. But it's an amazing feeling. So I hope that everybody feels that way when they make a team and they can see their parents in the crowd. It's like being a kid again. When you were a kid and you're graduating or you're singing on the choir and you see your parents in the crowd, you're like, hey, Mom! It's like that, It's like you become a kid again. It's just the best feeling. And then we get back to talking about the contracts. And they're talking about, okay, what if they walked out of practice? And honestly, they hold that power. If all of them walked out of practice, what is the organization going to do? Just not have cheerleaders? Like, I wonder that sometimes, because them being on the team, if they bonded together and they all did a walkout, that's going to make some headlines. That's going to cause some shifts. That's going to make a statement. And yeah, I think that's kind of how the episode ends, is, you never know, like, what's gonna happen with that, the contract situation, because they are in season, and things start getting busy, and then people just forget about it. Props to them. We'll see in the next couple episodes that they are not gonna let up, and that they're going to try to make something shake with these contracts. So we'll see what happens. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Imperfect Cheerleader podcast. I've had so much fun with you today. And like I said at the beginning, send in your messages. Send in your DM questions. I'll answer them live on the podcast. And I can't wait to see you back here for another recap. We'll be recapping episode 6 next time. 2 more episodes to go. Have a great one. Bye for now.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Imperfect Cheerleader podcast. Taking the time to listen while you're busy with all of life's responsibilities means the world to me. If you enjoyed this episode, here are a few ways you can support ICP. Number 1, hit the subscribe button so you always get newly released episodes and never miss them. Number 2, take a screenshot of the episode you listened to and tag @theprofessionalcheerleader on Instagram. We love to repost your tags and shout you out in our stories. Number 3, write a review. This is the best way to show your support for the podcast and helps us bring on even better guests, interviews, and topics. I hope you have a wonderful day, morning, or night, wherever you may be. and are continuing to work towards your goals of becoming a professional cheerleader, dancer, or just someone who loves to move. I'll see you later on another episode of the Imperfect Cheerleader podcast. Toodles for now.